I never expected that after giving my virginity to my boyfriend, he would blame me for being a virgin. It was difficult for him to enter me, which made the experience unpleasant. He didn't care whether my first time was painful or not, and instead, he blamed me. I was really furious about it. I am 22 years old and a junior this year. How should I put it? I think this is somewhere between avant-garde and conservative. I can understand many things, such as online dating, but I won't do it. It's not that I'm reserved, but I just haven't met the man I love. In order to live a freer life, I rented a house outside the school. I was the only virgin among the 3 roommates I shared a room with. To be honest, I felt a sense of inexplicable depression among a group of non-virgins. It's quite frustrating to say, but their behaviors always affect my mood. Wang Yi and I were in the same grade in junior high school. At that time, Wang Yi was dating a boy in the class. They were very sweet every day. I received a love letter almost every 2 days. Wang Yi would sometimes take out a few paragraphs and read them to me, asking me to share his happiness. I was very jealous. I still remember that Wang Yi and her boyfriend had a quarrel, and her boyfriend jumped from the 3rd floor of the teaching building in anger. The incident of breaking her foot caused a sensation in the school. I accompanied Wang Yi to visit her boyfriend. I was very considerate and left early. Wang Yi stayed there and returned late at night. The next day, Wang Yi told me that she wanted to marry him and love him forever. I remember Wang Yi's expression at that time. He looks into the distance with clear eyes, his lips slightly curled up, and he looks happy and resolute. He has experienced a lot. I think Wang Yi was no longer a virgin from that page. 3 months after Wang Yi lost her virginity, she broke up with her boyfriend, thinking that we were not mature enough. NetEase's boyfriend threw down this sentence and dumped NetEase, which was easier than throwing away clothes. Soon, Wang Yi's boyfriend found a more coquettish woman outside. Later one day, Wang Yi locked herself in the room and cut her wrist with a blade. The arm is where the pulse is, the pulse of the wrist. He was cut 3 times, and when he was found, blood had already flowed out the door. Later, he stayed in bed for 3 months. Suddenly, she had an epiphany, transforming like a butterfly, her eyes sparkling with a captivating allure, radiating a chilling beauty that could enchant anyone. I don't know how many boyfriends Wang Yi has had since then. She seems quite happy. It's just that every time she washes her hands, she inadvertently reveals the scars on her wrist, reminiscent of her past. Another girl is Shui Nan, a very simple girl, very innocent. When tampons became popular, she bought them and used them. Everyone said that it was not good for young girls to use tampons, so she changed. When purple lips and black nail polish became popular, she also tried to wear them at school. Later, fashion magazines said that this look was out of date, so she changed to a girlish look and wore it every time a singer held a concert in the stadium. She would queue up all night to buy tickets to the scene. She screamed hysterically. When Shui Nan talked about her first love letter, she was also sweet and terrified. Later, Shui Nan also began to put on makeup and go to those dark corners every night to date her boyfriend. I guess, if her boyfriend encouraged Shui Nan to sacrifice herself for love, she would definitely do it. Even though she didn't know whether he loved her or not, because she was not a girl with her own opinion. Later, she said that she was no longer a virgin after watching a porn at her boyfriend's house. Another girl, Chen Huan, told me that she didn't remember when her hymen was broken, nor did she remember the man's name. She said she only remembered that after a crazy night in the disco, dancing and drinking, and when she was drunk, she went to bed with this man. I don't even remember what that guy looked like, but I remember it hurt a lot. That night, I passed by a bar. I had never gone into a bar before, but for some inexplicable reason, I just walked in. It was a small bar, and when I got there, there was only one guy sitting inside. I sat down and ordered a Coke, because I didn't know what kind of alcohol to order, and I wasn't really good at drinking. I was nervous and afraid of looking awkward, so I just casually ordered a Coke. I didn't expect that when I said the word Coke, the guy turned to look at me. I thought he must think I'm strange. Maybe people should be drinking alcohol at a bar. Not long after, he came over to me and politely asked. He asked, "Can I sit with you?" My heart was racing, and I just nodded, unable to say a word. When he sat across from me, I noticed he was quite handsome, definitely my type. We started chatting, but I can't remember what we talked about, because I was just focused on his looks, wondering what he would be like in bed. I even started to wonder if he was thinking about what I would be like in bed too. At that moment, I realized I was feeling desire for the first time in my 22 years. It was a true longing that I had never experienced before. Later on, he ordered a lot of drinks, and I had quite a bit too. By around 10 at night, when he asked me to go to his place, I didn't hesitate and agreed. I was actually looking forward to it, filled with anticipation. When I arrived at his house, it was not big, but not messy, and the scent of his air freshener was very pleasant. I don't remember anything else about his house, because not long after I entered his house, he pushed me down on the bed. When he kissed me, my teeth were chattering because it was my first kiss. Before that, I hadn't had any kind of contact with any boy, not even holding hands. Later, when he took off his clothes, I didn't refuse. I actually liked the feeling of being relaxed. Yes, at that moment I just felt very relaxed, but he seemed pretty nervous. It was quite hot, and he was sweating a lot while taking off his clothes. When he undressed me completely and started to touch and lick my body, I had a strong reaction. Okay, I remember that I was very relaxed at that time, and I seemed to tease him like the women in porn movies. I was not mentally prepared when he entered, although I would not refuse him entry, but I was thinking about whether I should just tell him that this was my first time. While I was hesitating, I felt like I should let him know, since it was a big deal. But before I could gather my thoughts, I suddenly felt a sharp pain. I screamed loudly, and he froze in shock, asking me what was wrong. I was in so much pain that I couldn't speak for a long time. Then he saw a pool of blood on the sheets. I saw it too. It was a very small piece. His expression suddenly became terrible. He asked me what happened. Why was I bleeding? What happened? I bled so much I said it was my first time. Of course there would be blood. He was furious, looked at me for a long time, and then called me a slut. I asked him what was wrong with him. He said, "Why didn't you tell me you were a virgin? Why didn't you tell him? Why you were willing to have sex with him even though you were a virgin?" I said, "What's wrong with being a virgin? Does being a virgin mean you don't have the right to make love?" He ignored me, and then he looked at me with a questioning look and said that he didn't like women pestering him, and he didn't like taking responsibility. I laughed and asked him what responsibility he was asking me to take. I felt very uncomfortable. I thought he was pretty good, but I don't know why I suddenly found him ridiculous. You know what he was thinking? He just thought that since I gave him my first time, I would definitely rely on him, make him take responsibility, and stick to him. Is it that serious? What happened later was even more ridiculous. He asked me if I was in love with him. How should I answer a man asking such a question? Of course I have some feelings for him, but I really don't know what love is. I answered that I was not in love with him, but just liked him. I didn't expect him to say, "Don't fall in love with him because he has a girlfriend." I said, "What's wrong?" In my heart, I was thinking, what does it matter to me if he has a girlfriend? But to my surprise, he got nervous. He explained that he really had a girlfriend and that their relationship was good. I thought to myself, if their relationship is so good, why is he even with me? Aren't guys supposed to be better than this? I found him pretty lame and wanted to leave, but I was in pain down there. I asked him if I could stay the night because it hurt so much. He looked at me, maybe trying to figure out if I was serious or analyzing whether I was a... He said it would be better not to stay overnight at his place because his girlfriend might come over. Then I endured the pain, got dressed, and left. He walked me to the street, and as he was leaving, he turned back to look at me closely, as if he wanted to imprint that image in his mind. Because after all, this was my first time, my first man. Alright, that's all for my first time story. Bye.